Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Irumba Katusabe, your speaker, and this is the Pan-African Pyramid Show. This is the People's Local Parliament, the Pan-African Parliament that sits here every Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. at Fairway Hotel. For you, those of you who are actually following us via our social media online, we are live at Fairway Hotel. This version runs here from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, and on Saturday the same recorded version runs on NBS TV from 4 to 5 p.m. Mr. Pascal,
yes, please.
Before you go further, let's spell out. How do these youth now adopt into your program? Because you have wrapped a lot of things. None of these people actually belong to SDG directly. Because you say if you are doing anything, it means you're actually automatically falling into one of the SDGs, 17 of them. But how is government monitoring that? Because they could be doing something for myself, and in your own report you say Irumba is doing this and it is helping us. But how do you synchronize my work as a youth with your programming as a government?
As he has already said, the SDGs were adopted in 2015 during the UN General Assembly in New York by all the member states. There are 193 member states that subscribe to the UN. I'm glad there are young people here, and this information is definitely good for them to know some of these things as they look forward to being our leaders, the next leaders, the next in line, so they need to know some of these aspects. So there are many mechanisms. One, there is a natural right that every human being, you are supposed to take some particular action, and like I said, it's a given. So whatever you're doing, what is key is, one, first understand that you have a responsibility you have to do as a citizen, as a human being on the SDGs, you know. But two, we have also put a national coordination framework. In what I mentioned, in all these technical working groups, we have inclusion of youth in all these technical working groups. We have also provided platforms where, for instance, the SDG Secretariat is open to every individual, to every young person that has an innovation on SDGs and they want to be supported. It might not necessarily be financial, but also technical, and also guidance on which, for instance, private sector they can work with. We have given recommendations. Especially, we are looking for young people that are doing, you know, something. The two, I know in 2019, young people also mobilized themselves and formed what they call the Uganda Youth Coalition for SDGs, whose president is currently Laban Msimu and is here, who's going to talk about it more. But we have been trying to go through that coalition to ensure that we mobilize more young people to participate in these discussions.
So have you put in place some practical methodologies of how you can adopt these youth, or even them finding you to join you? Where do they find you? How do they find you? Where do you go when you want them? Do we have that physical network that right now, if I have bought your idea as a youth here, this is how I can go about it, this I can find you?
Okay.
We need those practical answers.
Yes, I will give a practical answer. But one thing I need to clarify on is that our work as the SDG Secretary towards working with the youth, the approach is the duck approach, not the chicken approach. The chicken approach. Yes, the chicken approach is the chicken feeds the young ones. The duck, they thrive, they find a way of thriving. Not meaning that the mother doesn't care about the ducklings, but it starts building capacity right from the beginning to not help them to survive on their own. And why I'm saying this when I'm speaker is that I'm going to answer the practical, don't worry. But why I'm saying this is that when we come into these discussions, we also don't want to put a mind or a mentality, or to emphasize a mentality, or to build on a mentality that these youth are entitled.
That's self-entitlement.
The self-entitlement is very wrong.
They deserve that.
Yes, you know, we always challenge our space in the National SDG Secretariat is we are challenging young people that, and sometimes you say we want space. I mean, space will always be given to you. And the next question is, what do you do in that space? So when it comes to the SDGs, it's not that you are waiting for a particular minister, or a particular MP, or a particular permanent secretary to come to your office and say, we have this $20,000, please receive it. I mean, this one we are in, one, unfortunately, it is an eco. It has a lot of turbulences, and therefore our youth must come to terms with that.
One of my seniors were speaking had come up with something to talk about SDG 3, talk about the targets, talk about the indicators, but I came to realize I'm losing the focus. Now, the good news is you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be an activist to change this world, to change Uganda, to change Africa. Yeah? And now the SDGs are coming in to approach the issues that are affecting everyone. SDGs are not a competition. My sister from Chambogo said, we are doing this one better. It's not a competition. SDGs are not for the secretariat.
It's actually complementary of what we are doing already.
Exactly.
They complement or not they do.
Yes. So if you want to change your community, if you want to make the area and the people around you to be better people, for you to be a better person, you don't have to look at the secretariat. You don't have to look at the SDG secretariat. You don't have to look at the youth coalition for you to start causing change. Are we together? Yeah? If I want change, I'm not going to wait for anyone else. It starts with you. It starts with you. Now, this is where the government has come and said, we are putting up, I've liked what the SDG secretariat and the event that's coming up for the first regional workshop, the skills training. We want you who has identified a problem in your community, and then you say, you know what? I need to do something about this. I need to do something that will end this problem.
You have identified the problem and you think you can be the answer.
Yes. Now, if you've identified it, what are you lacking?
Or for the answer, you don't need the secretariat.
Exactly.
That's what they say.
Now, the secretariat may come in to push you, to skill you, like the workshop that's coming up, to show you this is what you're doing wrong. Yes, you've started, you're doing something, you're changing people's lives, you're causing something tangible in your community. Yeah? Now we are going to push you such that you may do it on a bigger scale, or you may do it better. Or if in case you wanted to monetize it, this is how you do this, this is how you do this. Of course, you're not going to feed on just doing charity. It is a beautiful thing, but you will need to sustain. Okay, so they will tell you, okay, now, if you can make it a social enterprise, you can feed on this, but then serve the people. You don't need the SDG secretariat for you to be a change maker in your community. Listen, know the problems in your community. Know what is disturbing the community. Act. What can I do? What can I do to cause change in my community? What can I do? As a young university student, I noticed that we had a lot of issues in our communities that were preventable. You can't have, out of 10, you can't have 8 cases of typhoid. What is the problem? It's a fecal-oral issue. Wash your hands. And what does that mean for you to change that? Tell people, wash your hands. You don't need a secretariat to come and help you now implement SDG 3, good health and well-being. Yet you could go and tell grandma, you know what, after leaving the toilet, let's put some water source here. And so, you wash your hands. It is not big. It is not big the way the words sound, UN, SAT. It is not that big. It is an integral part of our living.
You know, when we hear everything, UN, we think it's a big thing.
Yes.
Because it's UN, United Nations. So it's a big statement. So everything, even the budget should be huge.
You see? We need to change our mindset as youth. We need to change change our mindset as young people and know that we can do something. And you don't need anyone from outside for you to start. The opportunities the government is putting up for us, the opportunities that the Secretariat, the Youth Coalition is putting up, they are coming. But we want somebody who is in motion. I like what Right Honorable Speaker said. They want a car that has already started moving, but maybe fuel has run out. Are we together? So, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, but as I conclude, can I be there? Yes. So, as I wind up, it's my humble request to all of us young people, over 78% of the 48 million of this country. What you do, big, small, directly affects the change or the change positively or negatively in this country. And you can decide to start it. You are 78 and above of the 48 million. Do the synergetic things that Pasco and my President Laban has said, and trust me, the small thing you've done will cause the change that you're looking.
Thank you. Actually, there is some gender balance. Actually, Diana, the UN fellow, what is it that you are doing on behalf of UN here in Uganda that you think is changing the youth of Uganda? You are a UN fellow, you are rep in Uganda. So let's see, what is it that you realize needs to be fixed, and so you are doing something?
My name is Atola Dina, and I am a UN fellow. But beyond the UN fellowship, I am a teacher. Well, what am I doing as a UN fellow? I've already stated it. I am a teacher. And what does it mean to step out of the comfort zone and look for where there are actual challenges and be the solution that is needed in a situation? We are young people, powerful, energetic. We have access to information. Our generation is privileged to have access to lots of information. And with all this information, what are we doing with it? We have access to statistics from so many other different organizations that are working locally.
But what are we doing?
And when you see the statistics, are you impressed? Or you are quick to judge and say, but those in power are not doing this, those in power are not doing this. But you also have power. As a young person, you have the power to step out and move to a specific place where you see a problem and say that young girls are dropping out of school because of lack of sanitary towels, and Jemba Michael Senkole steps there and says, I am going to teach these girls how to make reusable sanitary towels so they can stay in school. Now that is taking initiative as a young person. It takes me, Dina Atola, to leave Kampala, the comfort of Kampala, and reside as a Teach for Uganda fellow in Mayuge district for 2 good years, collecting little children 6 and 7 years and telling them there is hope for education, and teaching them each and every grappled with lockdown. Schools were closed. Uganda had the highest record of having schools closed. As a young person, what initiative did I take? I had the right support. I went to the community and we implemented cluster points learning systems in the rural communities to ensure that even our local children in Uganda are not left behind. And what are we saying today? We are leaving no one behind. So my dearest young people, let us take the initiative. Let us believe in the sense of possibility. That the fact that you have the title of a UN fellow on your head, there are places you cannot go to. You need to actually step out of the comfort zone and move to the areas of need. Anywhere you go, and have the right character. Be teachable. Be open to learning. Be curious to know. And establish clarity on the information that you seek. Because sometimes you are going to move with the wind and you will not have direction. Today people are doing this, yes, we go. Tomorrow you find people here, yes, we go. The other day people are going this way, yes, we go. Where is your sense of direction? Have a clear focus, have a clear sense of direction, have the intrinsic belief that it is possible, the sense of possibility. I strongly believe in that, and I know that the young people in here, when I am teaching, I know that each and every learner of mine has something special about them. And I have to find that thing in them and say that I have a learner who is good with handwork. And I know that I do not have to beat this child to bring out the academic excellence in them, but I have to nurture the handwork in them. If I have a child who is visually impaired, how do I support this child and point them to the right system that is going to enable them to grow in the right direction, that they can ably fit into a society and are also equally productive? This is the kind of direction we want to take. And we needn't point fingers all the time. It is a problem we have as a generation. We are, every day without pointing fingers. It's a problem. But can we break the bias? Can we change the narrative? Can we stand up and take initiative? And I understand that a number of you are students and you're asking questions, hey, I'm still in school, how do I leave school and disappear to this place and all that. Can you use your school time to seek knowledge and understanding and set pace for where you actually want to go post the tertiary institution? Can you use this time to prepare yourself and actualize what it is, the realities that is? Because when we study, most times we are shielded from the realities of the society. But can you establish your own realities and understand what the society is like, what is lacking, what is needed, and what contribution can you bring to it? And then what will the UN do? What will the SDG Secretariat do? It will find you on the move. If your tire has, run out of the friction and all that, that is where the Secretariat comes in and says, you started this, but you can do this in this and this manner. You are teaching, but we have a curated course that can support you in identifying learning needs. People who are autistic, people who are, have dyslexia, children who are maybe having malnutrition, you can identify some of these challenges. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes.
As a teacher, I have to be sure I am with my people.
You are with your,
Or I am too serious.
That means I'm going for a break.
Well, and you have to seek the right support mechanisms. Some people are going to come to give you support, and it is actually not support, they're going to use you. You must have the knowledge, you must have the understanding, you must be able to discern and tell that this is good for me for what I seek, but this might not lead me to where I want to go. But then this opportunity has come, and you know that outside there, I have a colleague in such and such a network who would best benefit from this. I oftentimes do not turn down opportunities, but I'd love to seek for dialogue. When you call me for something, I'll seek for dialogue and say, you know what, I know you have identified me for this, but this is not exactly where I want to go. However, I have a colleague who is like this, this, and this, and this, and this, and I think they can best fit here. So can also point our friends to opportunities. Like Mr. President Laban, as I conclude, like our President Laban indicated that do not cover up those opportunities that come and you're like, this is mine, I am holding on to this. Please do not hold on to it. Release and let it flow to other people.
Thank you so much. Have you understood now? Have you benefited from your being here? Does it ring a bell to you that actually you need to participate in this SDG? Because anyway, whether you participate in it or not, you belong to it. You belong to it by default, because you live on this earth. And this program is about the global actions. So whether you understand it or not, you must endeavor to ensure that you take part. Now the good news is, there is somebody here, the president for the Youth Coalition, and then Mr. Pasco here, the coordinator. They are here to make you understand and then also answer some of your questions. If you'd like to participate, if you've been left out, what have you actually missed? And therefore, moving forward, how would we adopt onto that program and move forward? Because they are saying they don't want to leave anyone behind. So would you like to be left behind? If you don't want to be left behind, what can you do to change the bus that has already started moving? I will begin now inviting Mr. Nkwanga Michael. Nkwanga Michael is a former presidential candidate for Jambogo University. Mr. Nkwanga, by the way, Mr. Nkwanga Michael has also been appointed last night as our official spokesperson for the Pan-African Pyramid. Next time, if you see that document, if it's not signed by me, it is signed by Mr. Nkwanga Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. My name is Nkwanga Michael Otim, and I'm a student at Jambogo University. I am highly cognizant, and I fully acknowledge the tremendous work that has been done by the SDG Secretariat.
Kindly let us settle and listen in. Let's start settle.
Yeah, the work that has been done by the SDG Secretariat, UN Youth Fellow, and other partners in promoting the SDG agenda. I would like to take the debate to a higher top notch, because now there is more to the SDG agenda than what meets the eye. I so much loved your submission. Very simple and straight to the point for all of us at least to tackle on.
I understand.
But right now, Speaker, I feel it is very important when we address the SDG agenda to have the statistics before we can solve a problem. It is important that we know what has been happening prior, where do we stand so that we can forge our way forward.
And that's what I was asking, if you remember.
Yes.
But they said they
currently, 2023, Uganda's poverty rate stands at 41.4%. In addition to the 41.4%, there is another 27% that live in multidimensional poverty.
Now, what break it down for us, though?
The 41.4% are in monetary poverty.
You appreciated him for being very simple and understanding.
Yes.
You're making it now.
No, I'm giving the assistance, we shall get there. The 41.4% I'm talking about are monetarily poor. The other 27, in addition to the 41, that now escalates the number to about 60, are multidimensionally poor in other aspects of life. SDG goal number 1 is poverty. No poverty. So, if we are addressing no poverty,
Ending poverty in all its forms everywhere.
exactly.
All its forms.
Now, I think it is very important when in addressing the SDG agenda, we are either going to grasp all and lose all, or eventually in bits, we are going to focus on key areas depending on what is priority for Uganda or not, and have those addressed. Uganda's poverty rate continues to increase day by day. And this is an agenda with a time frame. So now the questions would be, instead of someone coming here and sugarcoating it to make it look like the youth have a part to play and they are really not playing it, instead they are being critics of what hasn't been done. Can we discuss how do we get out of this poverty?
Getting the youth involved.
Yes, because at this point we realize that the fulcrum, like someone noted, I don't know if it was Mr. President, if someone noted that the fulcrum of the SDG agenda are the youth.
If we are not using the fulcrum, what else would you use?
The pivot. And now, The fulcrum of the agenda is at a corner.
Now, you also subscribe that word, conundrum.
A conundrum.
I am not criticism of Frank.
That's why you're spokesperson.
I am not.
Now this one means that they are in a difficult and very complicated situation. You do not know whether you should go or not, or you should step back or not. You are there. There is the willingness to participate, I want to assure. The youth are very, very willing to participate. But in their urge to be participatory, are we now looking at the realism that is pulling them to actually participate?
They want to get involved.
I want to get involved.
Don't know.
But realistically, how do I get involved? Because now
Those are the ones
we should be gauging.
President Rabat should answer.
We should be gauging the vital few versus the trivial many. And what is in place here are the trivial many. Of course, someone said Zoom. Vital is important. Mr. President will stand here and tell you, for example, myself, I have a company that is dealing in, I beg your pardon?
I deal in food.
Mr. President has a company that deals in food. Now, to be realistic, that is not the normal standing of a Ugandan youth.
Exactly.
It is not. Can we talk about the trivial many? Trivial could mean less important many, the many.
But now,
The agenda must be able to benefit at a larger scope.
and so you want them to go for
We must not the trivial many now.
Those are the ones you want.
We must not focus. A question you asked and someone was follow beating, you were clear and said, I think are groups of youth that have honestly participated from the
And you can
engagement
point at them
and from the
physically.
framework. And you can identify them physically. That should be our center of discussion. Lastly, in the interest of time, because for me, I feel it is if we can address poverty, if we can address hunger. Now, the global hunger rate globally is 10%. Now, this means a whole 150 million people are hungry. And what comes with hunger is anger.
Even here, they are there.
I'm a hungry man myself.
With a lot of anger.
Yes.
That's why you are.
And let me tell you, I do not know whether it is deliberate or now this just happens. There are regions in this country that are best described by hunger. That is who they are. When I say hungry people, I heard now a voice, someone there saying, Karamoja. That cannot be, and I know setting, that cannot be a description of a region or a domain of people. It cannot. Now that shows that we are headed for a wrong direction. What do we do to curb the hunger? Can we have societal transformations that are realistic? If there are monies, can we have investments into agriculture that benefits even the poorest person in society?
Yes.
In the interest of time, quality education.
You finish up. I give you 1 minute.
I am naturally a brief man. So when the time is brief, they give me a few little minutes to compensate for brief in height. We talk about quality education. You know, all this is going to center around a population that is educated. One population that is laboring to get educated. One, to prepare it for future employment. Two, so that they can be inclusive in livelihood programs. Three, so that they can be supportive, so that they can innovate and invent. Now, 12.4% of Uganda's total population are people that live with some form of disability. 12.4.
Disability.
Yes,
Are
12.4.
you meaning the physical disability?
Any form of disability, any form.
No.
12.4% of Uganda's population lives with some form of disability.
Socio-economic.
And the statistics from UBOS, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, 30% of the 12.4% most likely, for one reason or the other, are most likely to be unproductive, poor, and not access services like any other people. Now, 9% of the total population do not get enrolled into primary school.
9%.
9% do not get enrolled into primary school. Now you can imagine the population, 9% of the population not going to school. Do you know the impact of the country having over 20 million people that have not gone to school?
I get your word enough.
Maybe lastly, it could be on the monitoring and review process. The review mechanism, the principles. When we talk about inclusive, it must not be inclusiveness that is oratory, but more practical. How participatory is it? How transparent is it? The gender sensitivity, and of course, if we can continue to match indicators with data, of course, and continue to monitor corruption. Good enough we have the SDG framework in place. It must be a frame that was created to work. Not a frame that is just a frame without work. Right on our speaker. The United Nations introduction of SDG 16 notes that corruption and illicit financial flows deprive developing countries like Uganda. One time I met a gentleman that was challenging me and saying, in the next 2 years, if things do not improve, we scrap off Uganda from being a developing country to a country that stopped developing. I do not know how authentic the statement was, but yes.
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
Mr. Kata, take the point. Mr. Ngwanga is talking about education levels and the inequality in there. But it is number 4 on the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN.
Yes.
And they said ensuring inclusive and equitable quality. They have not forgotten that word. Quality, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. So why is Mr. Ngwanga talking about 90% of the total population not even starting the starting point of education, the primary level?
Africa has the highest rate of youth in the world.
That's correct.
And Uganda here, the youth according to UN definition from 1835, I think composes about 48%, if not 50%, yes, of the youth in this country. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, out of this population in Africa, 58% are youth who are unproductive. 58%. These are youth who are productive. Now, when you're talking about, because the topic is about how you can maximize, make this, prepare this youth to move with the world in terms of development. Am I right? Yes. Trigger them, understand what we want to tell them. Because it's not about, because I had one of you giving presentation, I think it's the one in charge of the Secretariat. He said we are identifying youth who are having what they are doing. Now, what about the bigger majority of the youth, the one I've told you, who are productive? Should they die? Where is the agenda program for such? You see, these are serious questions, Mr. Speaker. Now, two, you no need to come here because the largest number here you have in the audience here, these are youth. We need to labor so much talking about Queen's language. The question is, can you leave alcohol and betting and do ABC? I was expecting that, unfortunately I did not hear it. Because in urban areas, youth who are living in urban areas, these are some of the activities you find they are engaged in. Issues to do with alcohol or alcohol abuse, betting, watching Arsenal and Man U. These are serious issues that occupy the minds of the youth. Now, I was expecting now the technocrats to tell us how can you change the mindset of a youth to get away from those things that are wasting his her time to engage in a developmental activity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is Peace Ambassador Kambura Milton and President.
Thank you, our National Chair and our Cardinal Leader. Please stand to your neighbor and say, Africa, you're welcome. Africa. Please, I want to hear that. Africa, you're welcome. Africa, you're welcome. I'm writing a book titled Vision for Africa, Unified and Transformed. Coming out soon, P.L. Lumumba is reviewing it with His Excellency Obasanjo from Nigeria. But the one that has just come out with the forward again from Patrick Lumumba, Professor, the book is called Nurturing a Competent African Child. 20 years, 5 years. This book is coming very soon. Very, very soon. And it's talking about some of the things. But allow me to really share something very critical here. Africa's youth role in deepening or achieving SDGs. That's what I'm going to center on. But because of time, I'm just going to touch a few things. Right now, Global Peace Foundation, which I lead in the country, but we are now expanding to 51 countries. We have 4 signature programs. One is the International Young Leaders Assembly at the United Nations every September. And I'm inviting our national chair, our president. We will be able to go to the UN this year. Our purpose is to prepare the next generation of leaders who are moral and innovative. Tell your neighbor, moral and innovative leaders. It's the most expensive currency right now the world needs. Because it seems we are in a period where everything is upside down. What we seem to think is good, to others is completely shit. Can you imagine? Even that small thing that may be out of common sense, you understand, educated, highly technological, advanced, very rich. You know what I'm talking about, colleagues? So the world is in a junction. Tell your neighbor, in a junction. Where young people need to teach the professor, say amen. Mr. Professor, you're welcome. I'm not meaning you, sir. Where morality needs to guide technology to have meaningful outcomes on the youth and their future. So allow me to just give you three points on what probably can program our organizations. Because when we don't have really critical, evidence-based, sustainable programming of NGOs or our organizations, we will not attract resources. No one will even trust us. Because somehow good governance and programming must go together. It doesn't matter how many years it must, move, because you realize 15 years we are with Mr. Irumba. Please clap for him because he has never given up. He was with us, but he was talking about this thing with General Eli Tumwina. I salute you, sir, with the leg, because you have never changed. You're not chameleon. So one thing, SDG 1, and no poverty. They are talking about no poverty. But how do we understand this as young people? Young people, how do, because the old people may define it differently. Because right now, if a young man is dreaming big, the leaders will say, hey, go yakala yourself. Tell your neighbor, we must change that.
We must change that.
The young people, everything they must do is all about creating wealth. That Twagala says how. God created young people to be, broke. We must drive. We must build floating houses. We need the most efficient technology. We must dress the best. We must drink the best. We must eat the best. We must drink the best. So that we look the best. So that we have a unique generation. So this is what I'm sharing. One is that UNESCO's report actually last year, of course after COVID, professors challenging us to use, figures, and my colleagues, we are talking about the same. They are telling us that young people below the age of 25, look at what the report is saying, that this group of young people below the age of 25, they are curious. Tell your neighbor, curious. They are innovative. Tell your neighbor, innovative. But very important, they say they want to learn and grow big. I like that one. They don't want to be stagnant, They are young, but they have youthful dreams to fly the world. That's what they're talking about. But someone wants us to be somewhere under the carpet. What's going on, colleagues? We must therefore shape the old people who want young people to be down in the ground. Say amen. Amen. And we must resist that. There is that gap, colleagues. Then look, what therefore is our role? The Germans are about to shut me down because of time. So quickly, somehow, what is our role in helping the United Nations make sure that at least each country achieves this no poverty in our countries? One point I've put forward is that since UNESCO has told us we can be innovative, therefore let's go ahead and craft the most craziest ideas and innovate. Am I saying something, colleagues here? Yes. Where would you learn innovation? God created each person with a talent. That's what the professor was talking about. I'm doing some PhD somewhere, and I know where you are touching. These are bullets that need really research, and some people will not understand you. Everyone is created with an inherent natural talent. You cannot teach them some of these things. Someone is just born, he starts bringing the soil together and creates a human being. Now the parents say, my house girl, my child is getting dirty. They start now beating the house girl. This same child goes to the school wanting to create that, to continue innovating. The school say, this child, they beat you again. Remember, this is not even examinable. So at parent level, the parents kill the talent. At school level, the African child is killed. At the government level, because the colonial masters left systems here that must control us never to innovate, even to think. Tell your neighbor the African child is still in chains. Please tell your neighbor that we are still in chains. So if we allow, therefore, to innovate from childhood, then we'll even achieve SDG 1 until young people innovate. Then nations can build economies. Say amen. Then when we suffocate them, remember they are the biggest population. So if young people are suffocated, systems suffocate them, governments suffocate them, that they are opposition, that they are bad people in the church, that in the mosque we are the... You know what happens here. Then you're talking about import substitution, Chairman. How shall we achieve import substitution if our young people are still in chains? That even when we produce and put on the market the products of the young people, oh my God, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Hey, clap for this message. This is the business. That is the message. So, colleagues, the young people, don't shy away. Let us produce. Let us produce. Put in the market. Let us push the government to allow our products compete with the Chinese products. If we don't push some of these things to our MPs, then the MPs don't know what to talk in Parliament. We are lucky, Mr. Chairman. The youth MPs who have been training them all over the world, training them, and our late Jacob Bolanya used to lead these groups. And may his soul rest in eternal peace. But look, we are lucky that those that were given the global perspective, that have listed some of these minds, most of them are successful. Successful. From World War I, most of them, even the leader of FDC, you remember my brother, 90% of the people who have trained best, wherever they are. So if you want to be the best, you're in the right path. Clap for him. Just continue climbing here. You'll be inspired to drive, to walk, and sing, and eat in the right dream. Then somehow, because of time, maybe I just touch another area of peace building. Because Africa's biggest problem, Chairman, is the confusion we are in: tribalism, political parties, religious intolerance. It seems everything around us cannot allow the African young man and woman to breathe. Tell your neighbor, we can't breathe. We can't breathe. Colleagues, what is our role as younger people? One is to deepen social cohesion. We must never be allowed to be used as weapons of conflict. You understand that? Oh, thank you, Chairman. Secondly, how are we going to do it at organizational level? Because this is SDG, of course, 16, you know that. We are talking about peace, justice, and strong institutions. But our countries can't move without peace, without strong institutions, without our social cohesion. So, colleagues, when we leave this room, I would like and request you to emphasize principles and shared values. Shared what? Shared value. What is in the Latoro culture? What is in the Bukonjo culture? What is in the Buganda culture? All of them are talking about love. Say love. Forgiveness. Even the church talks about those things. Those are the things you must put up so that it kind of guide our relations, not tribes. Yes, a tribe is good, but be in your tribe, but while you are pulling out what the other friend of yours and yourself can guide you. Love, forgiveness, dialogue, reconciliation. Dream big. All of you learn to dream big, because if you dream small, you will continue those shrines of ours which are good, but they need also to be guided. The churches also need to be guided. Already they are divided. The mosques, there is Batabuliki, there is the other Chiburi. So younger people must be above. Say above. So that the older people understand that we know what we want. So that now we lead when we are given opportunity. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. My colleague Mr. Bob Musana comes from the civil society.
Thank you very much, Andrew. First and foremost, I want us to clap for Andrew Irumba. Me coming to speak here. Andrew started very many years ago. James, I remember the WhatsApp groups, but seeing this place the way it is now, seeing this on NBS, Andrew, you had a vision, and as a speaker, we really appreciate when you see someone that you used to associate with, when something was just on a small WhatsApp group, and now it is on NBS, airing for hours. Andrew, this is a big milestone. Thank you very much. First and foremost, we really appreciate the SDGs, and you guys are doing great, but let us focus on number 2. Deeper localization and popularization of these SDGs. I've seen MPs in Parliament trying to discuss SDGs, but everyone gets quiet, apart from just a few. You think these MPs understand these SDGs? As you go back to the Secretariat, why don't you make these SDGs as local as possible? Instead of discussing them at Serena, why don't you have a fireplace conversation in your village and discuss this in your local language with your people? Everything that is here, there is nothing that is new. This is just English. All this, who doesn't know poverty? You understand? All this you put on paper, localize it in the local language, discuss it with your people in the simplest way they can understand it.
Free your mind now. Be part part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate, with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
I don't know whom I have left behind. Is there somebody who has something to speak that it's your first time to be here? If I call, okay, come, use 1 minute. If I call Mr. Laban to respond. Yes, come over. And especially it's a lady, because men have been talking so much. Yeah.
Let me first of all appreciate the previous speakers. Thank you so much. I want to talk about flexibility. As the youth, we need to be very flexible, because in most occasions, the youth they want to put themselves in a certain kind of life that they don't want to do the low kind of jobs. But that is the only way we can survive, because we are supposed to first begin from something very small. Don't expect to begin from up. Up will come in later. So as the youth, accept that you do not have a certain kind of amount of money. So maybe you're expecting to begin a business, begin it in a low way. Begin it with a low amount that is available. If it is going for any kind of work that is available, avail yourself, and trust me, we shall fight the goal number 1, which is poverty. And it is the greatest issue that we have in Uganda. Because now that is the reason why the young people, you realize that most of them are stealing. It is causing a lot of inconvenience, because you realize that we are raising thieves in Uganda. Very many youth. What is the cause? It is because they don't have money and they want to survive. Can they survive without money? Can they survive without food? Definitely it is a no. So we need to teach these young people that at least be flexible. Accept to do something, anything that is available. That was my view.
Mr. Laban Msenguzi, who is the president of Coalition SDGs in Uganda.
The audience, I'm called Msenguzi Laban Joshua, and I'm the president of the Youth Coalition for SDG. I'm humbled to be here today. I'm very happy that one of the past speakers said, when we are here, we don't get annoyed.
Yes.
So we are not annoyed.
Okay.
But however, I would like to inform some previous speakers that if we can keep and remain in this native arrangement, maybe we would have come here naked. Why are we putting on clothes? Because the world is innovating and moving forward. So we need to understand and keep in mind the world is revolving. So we would have remained naked and moved like an animal. So, right honorable speaker, let me try to contribute through because of need little time. I'm going to tackle some of the issues. As I was here, I told you that we met the president in 2019. The president of this country, His Excellency Dr. Museveni. He told us, we gave him all our time to talk to him, and he said, I've seen all of you, and all you're talking about is money. And he said he's going to give us the address of money. So I've seen that all of us here are talking about the issue of poverty. And it is very simple. These are the 4-5 addresses of money. Involve yourself in commercial agriculture, involve yourself in industrialization and manufacture, involve yourself in the ICT you're talking about, involve yourself in a service, offer a service. The previous speaker has spoken about it. What service are you offering deep down in your community? And then public sector, which of course doesn't have jobs, but it also contributes something. Someone talked about localization of SDGs. The Ministry of ICT, as a technical working group, has gone ahead to translate these sustainable development goals we've seen. The work is there. And I believe that even through this method we are doing, which is called localization, that is why you see, the secretariat was started in 2019. The Youth Coalition started in 2019. And guess what, Honorable Speaker? COVID also did what? Aiming. Now we are here opening up. We are coming to regions. And then we are saying we have managed to pick out some little areas. We are expecting members, for example, those in Western region, find a way of coming closer to Mbarara. Participate in this 3-day activity. If you are in Eastern, find a way of getting closer to either, Jinja, or, in the north we are saying Lira. in the we have said Mubende. Walk there, you will get it. So, right, Honorable Speaker, we are now talking about the skilling of youth. We have had previous speakers who have said everyone is using it as a mechanism. Yes, you are going to hear it 70 times % that you are going to skill youth because they are the majority of the population. We can even see example here in the room. So, right, Honorable Speaker, we're looking at what kind of skills? Fundamental skills. We are looking, that means that communication and branding. We are looking at how do you brand yourself. Right, Honorable Speaker, we get people, I'm a married man. We have some youth who send me messages at midnight. Why? Understand when to communicate, what to communicate, where to communicate it, and how to communicate it. If we can fix those communication channels, we shall not have issues. Those are the fundamental skills. Personal management, finance. Stop living a life that is not yours. Don't please community. Come and vocational or hands-on skills. Yes, we have understood that the vocational schools are there, event, whatever it is. But what exactly are you doing in your home? Can we create smaller economies into the bigger economy? At your home, you can cause an economy in your home. One does the bread, another one does something. You maneuver it out. Professional skills. Professional skills. How are you walking into someone's office? Right, Honorable Speaker, you know very well, I wake up very early. I'm in office at 6. I leave office literally at midnight. But I still balance time. I make sure I take my children to school, I do this. So it is important that you must allocate time. We are not a joking generation, right, Honorable Speaker. So I don't understand when someone looks at us as No, Honorable Speaker. I would like to let you know and let this House know this is a generation of change. We are not going to see. We have to achieve 2040, vision 2040. Yeah. I can assure you, some people who are in this population don't have a guarantee, right, Honorable Speaker, to live for the next 30 years. The youth have a guarantee to live for the next 10 years. We have some people who don't have a guarantee to even live for 5 years. But for us to do what? So we use it. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are talking about regional coordination. Someone asked, how is the coalition? I have regional coordinators here, right, Honorable Speaker. They can stand up and talk to themselves. We have a Western regional coordinator, Central regional coordinator, Dr. Marjorie. I know you are behind there. Stand up and wave at people. That's the Central regional coordinator of the Youth Coalition for SDGs. This is Carol, Western region. We are coming. We shall now even go.
Western.
We are coming. We have the Western region. So we are coming, like I told you. We must negotiate as a whole. We are 70%. Government will not listen to you and I'm alone, like they told you. I can't go there and negotiate alone. But if we negotiate as a group, we can influence policy. They talked about youth MPs. If they negotiate as 4 of them as they are, yes, the policy will come out. Yes. We have worked with Nuruddin Smart Youth Network. We negotiate as youth and come out to be meaningfully participating. Not just calling us and then give us tea. We are tired. Right, Honorable Speaker. We are learning. We have accepted to make as many mistakes as possible. And we shall make them. Let that older generation understand that we are going to make mistakes. You will give us that capital, it will fail, but we shall come back and ask you. You are our parents. We did not negotiate with you, give back to us. So look after us until even us we shall look after you. Because regardless, we shall also do what? Look after you. Right, Honorable Speaker, partnerships with private sector. We come to these companies, you ask them, I have a small proposal. What experience do you have? How do you expect me to have experience? Yet I have an education system where I've been for 25 years. I have been in the education system for 25 years. I'm not 26, 27. I come to you, I'm telling you, have a proposal, say, you have no experience. Where do you expect to get experience from? I have a small business plan, I come to the bank, I want some little money, bring a chopper. From where? You, my parents, you have gotten this land title when you are 50 years. You have built your house when you are 60 years. Yeah, exactly. How do you expect me now to have the land title to build house? So we are going upon government that we are going to come together as youth.
We are calling upon financial institutions to help us to understand, to protect our innovations and startups. We don't have the collateral you're asking us.
Not there.
With those few words, we have the brains. Yes, we have the brains. You see this youth here? They can start a company, a factory here. Ask them here. When they put their minds together. So with those few words, I don't want to speak up for God and my country. Thank you very much.
Mr. Musana is from the civil society fraternity. He asked something that have you localized these SDGs? So I wanted to re-emphasize, you said something that the ministry has been actually localizing these into so many languages. Isn't it? That's what they've said.
Yes, That
they have been localizing. It means your question has actually been answered long time ago.
I want to show you that there are many opportunities around us. Recently, UNDP gave me $7,000 because I presented myself with an idea. I said, there is a challenge with youth unemployment, there is a challenge with climate action, so I started and said, okay, how do I address this challenge? Then I said, I went to UNDP, I told them, I want to start a rabbit farm. And in that, I'll be employing young people. I will be skilling youth and women in economic self-sustainability, and then once you train them, you give them capital of 2 rabbits, and you're, creating a source of income. And they say, look, here's the money. Young people, development partners have money, but they are looking for young people with brilliant ideas to present themselves. Let us get ourselves out of this box of negativity, right? Because opportunities are around us. I want us to start thinking differently, and we must identify ourselves as champions of SDGs localization and implementation. When you go to bars, talk about SDGs, right? When you go to those film cinemas, talk about SDGs. Challenge your minds and present yourself. You are leaders of today, you are no longer leaders of tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Every last Saturday of August, we have what they call the Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards. We award Pan-Africans globally. And this year, we are looking to awarding about 3 people. 1 will be from Zambia, and 2 will be from Uganda. We are looking forward to that occasion. 26th of August, please mark your calendar. 26th of August, we shall be here in a bigger room, and we want you to come and we share what we shall be able to share that day. It's about getting together, it's about understanding what our challenges are as Africa, and then we appreciate actually those that have been in the Pan-African dreams, helping to fight for the black people. When they died long time ago, they have passed on the baton on to us. We must fight and pass on the baton to the next generation after us, and that's what we are exactly doing. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. If it's your first time to be here, we have what they call membership cards. You can be a good Pan-Africanist, but it's much more better if you have a card that identifies you that I am one. Most of you have been Ugandan for a very long time and you didn't have national IDs. Sometime back in 2016, a call came that you needed to have an identity card even when you're born in Eto'o. You need to have that national ID so that when you're in Kenya, you say, I am Ugandan, and this is my national ID. You need to have that membership card called the Pan-African card. That card will give you access to all our global networks of Pan-Africans.